Last week, we talked about embodiment and how it is the answer to creating sustainable action to get what you desire. Hi, my name is Halinka, and I'm your host and coach for the Living Vulnerably Authentic podcast. And today, we're going to talk more in depth about what embodiment is and how and why it is the answer to sustainable action. And in order to know that, we have to understand the stress cycle. Because embodiment is the answer to navigating your stress cycle. I want you to imagine this. You're feeling stuck. You're not really loving life. Everything is just kind of being okay. You know that there's more. And as you think about what there is to more, you have this urgency and this desire to get a new job, a new career in a brand new field, one that excites passion and lights you up. And as you think about this, you think about all the things it has to offer, but you also wonder if you're qualified. You're wondering if you're going to have to kind of fight for this job with 1,000 other people. And, all the years of service that you've put in are no longer going to be valid. You're going to have to start at the bottom of the totem pole and work your way up the ladder. You wonder what that income's going to look like. And with this kind of economy, you wonder if you can even take a pay cut. And if you take a pay cut, will you be able to do the things that you enjoy? Where will you be able to cut back on? Are you able to cut back on anything at all? And as you start to wonder all those things, you wonder about the commute and you start to realize that maybe your current job that's actually happening, even though you're feeling stuck, you know exactly what it's like, actually doesn't feel too bad because the thought of doing all the things in order to get the new job kind of makes you feel a little bit nauseous and ill. You get a little scared because there's flutter in your throat and you start to hold your breath and you actually realize that you don't deserve a new job. Where you are is completely fine. And who do you even think you are to even imagine that you could do something different? So you don't apply for the job and you stay where you're doing and you repeat the same cycle, the same thought, the same desire next week. Now, that example of finding a new job and a new desire may seem too big for you. Maybe that doesn't hit home. Maybe you realize that you kind of want to try the new restaurant that's in the town over. And you're going to meet your friend Sally next week for dinner, so maybe you'll actually suggest that new restaurant. Now, you're wondering about the new restaurant, and it is an hour drive, and you are going to have to go through traffic in order to get there. You wonder what parking is going to be like, and is it going to be easy to find because you don't really have a great sense of direction. And your friend Sally has quite a few food allergies, and so you wonder if there's going to be anything on the menu that she's going to feel comfortable with. And you're both kind of on a bit of a budget. It seems a little bit more expensive than you're willing to actually pay for. And so instead of actually doing all these things and trying this new restaurant, you decide to stay at the Thai place down the street and order the same menu. It's easier, it's safe. You know everyone's going to like it. So you stop the desire. You don't even check on the new restaurant. You just get the pad thai. Both of these examples are examples of our stress cycle. So, in order to understand the stress cycle, we need to understand what our comfort zone is. Our comfort zone is a series of actions which are dictated by our beliefs, which are completely unconscious that really create our current realm. Now, a lot of things within our comfort zone can be actually really good. They're the habits that we've been able to create to be able to do things that we love, to be able to experience different sensations, to be able to create some of the comforts in our lives. And yet, there's a lot of things that we do completely unconsciously that aren't very comfortable at all, or even actions that don't serve us, are not good for us, are not healthy for us. And yet, we do them because we really don't, A, realize we're doing them, and B, we don't really know any other way. Our comfort zone can be as simple as always going to the same restaurant. And it can be as expansive as always dating the same personality, even though you know that personality and doesn't actually suit you, isn't good for you, and doesn't align with what your values are. So anything that you desire is outside of your comfort zone. Whether that desire is something that's really big, like a new job, or that desire is a little bit smaller, like trying a new restaurant, anything that is new is going to expand you outside of what your current system of beliefs of unconscious actions are. Now, any single time that we have a new desire, there are going to come a whole bunch of unknowns because we've never done this before, right? It's something's totally outside of our normal realm, our normal reality, our normal comfort zone. And those unknowns and those series of questions are going to be incredibly normal. What does it look like? What is it going to feel like? What do I need to know in order to do it? I love the example of the restaurant because it's so simple, right? How am I going to get there? What are the directions? What are the hours of the restaurant? What are the things on they're going to have on their menu? What is the price point? Where can I park to make it as easy for me so that I can experience this? And any single time we have a list of unknowns, there is going to be a physiological stress response. Your body is going to actually feel the uncertainty, feel the unknowns, and it comes out in a sensation of stress. Now, stress isn't always bad, right? There is good stress and there is bad stress, but the reality is your physical body does not know the difference between a good source of stress and a bad source of stress. So the sensation of all of a sudden that increased heart rate, the decrease of your breath pattern, having it be a little bit heavy and constricted, the fact that your body tenses up and your shoulders are up by your ears and you feel this uncertainty and your stomach is starting to go and everything feels like it's at a quickened pace. That stress response is there to alert us that something is happening. So a lot of times it's to alert us that something's wrong, or really in the case of the stress response is to alert us that there's something outside of our comfort zone that we're actually pushing towards. Once that stress response is actually activated, we have our unconscious beliefs and behaviors that are going to tell you everything that you shouldn't do this. Who are you to think you deserve that new job? Why would you even try a new restaurant when you know the place down the street is actually easier? You shouldn't do that. You're not good enough. And all those thoughts and cycles and behaviors that are completely unconscious, that are written in an unconscious deep belief system within us, kick us back into our comfort zone so we stay in there. Now, the comfort zone is actually designed to keep us safe. Even though it may be behaviors and actions that we don't like, that behavior and action is safe because we completely know and can predict the outcome. Versus this new desire with all these unknowns are completely unpredictable. So, where does embodiment come in? Embodiment is going to be the skill that you need to learn in order to break that stress cycle. So, when we actually start to feel that physical sensation of stress because of all the unknowns that are naturally going to happen, we can listen to the language of our body. We're able to connect to that deeper layer of ourselves to be able to actually understand and take action in a different direction and knowing that we're actually safe. An embodiment practice can be as simple as saying, I hear you. I feel you. I know you're trying to keep me safe. And in order to take the action, I'm going to actually have the answer to one of those unknowns. In this case of the restaurant, right? I'm going to look it up. I'm going to see the menu and I'm going to actually look up GPS of where I can go. I'm going to take a look to where the parking lot is so that I already have this sensation of certainty. I already have this feeling of safety and security as I'm going to experience something new. Maybe in the case of a new job, that action's going to be, I hear you, I feel you, I see you. I understand the stress that's happening here, and it is totally legit. And the action that I'm going to take is talk to this person who already works for that company and see if they can answer some of my questions to see if it's worthwhile exploring this new possibility. The act of embodiment, of being fully connected and present within your body so that you're able to feel this presence, groundedness, and safety is going to allow you to take action towards your desires, which are outside of your comfort zone. And as we're able to take this sustainable action on these desires, we are going to start living a life that is more aligned with what you truly want. And you're going to be able to take steps and achieve the things that you've always wanted to achieve in a way that feels light and open and safe and fun and joyful. The practice of embodiment is the secret to breaking that stress cycle. The act of embodiment is the secret to taking sustainable action that feels good. Thank you for listening to the Living Vulnerably Authentic podcast. I am your host and coach, Halinka, and I truly believe the secret to finding and living your purpose is to be vulnerably authentic and to live an aligned life. Thanks for listening. Until next time.